In the last class, we had discussed some basic concepts which are required to take up the next program, starting with calendar, and we saw something called simple date format, and then date picker dialog, time picker dialog. Okay, that's what we had discussed theoretically in the last class, and we were able to see one of those, the date picker dialog, in action yesterday. So today we will continue with that, and then we will go to the next concept which is required to do the program. Okay, so just a quick recap of how we created this particular program. I just put two text boxes, one to hold the date and one to hold the time. Okay, nothing else I'm going to do in this particular program. This is just to demonstrate that. And when we start the lab record 6 program, we will make it into another project, and I'll do it together with the button and all those things. Okay, so basically here what we have kept is a date picker and a time picker, but it is only two text boxes. So when you tap on it, normally people are allowed to type something there, but if they type it, sometimes they might make mistakes of the date and the time and all those things. So what we are doing right now is we are trying to make sure that the user picks the date and time, not types it. Okay, that's why bringing a date picker dialog and a time picker dialog. So yesterday when we did that, I just made sure that these two, when they are clicked upon, some action is happening. So what I did, I used the second method by attaching the listener to the class. Okay, we asked this class to implement this interface, and we implemented its method on click. Okay, and I found two of those controls: edit text, date, one to hold date, one to hold time. We have mapped them, and we have asked them to listen to this class, because this class is anyway listening to an on click. Okay, so once if you click on the date or text box or the time text box, this method will be called, and in that one I've written a simple if condition. If the view which you have clicked on is the date, show the date dialog, otherwise show the time dialog. I've not written the time dialog yet, but how do you create a date dialog? I've just created a date picker dialog on the global scenario. Okay, and after that I've instantiated it here with a new date picker dialog passing 5 parameters. I've told that in yesterday's PPT, if you remember that. Okay, so I think date picker dialog, there are 5 parameters: context, the interface, which is the date set listener, then year, month and day in integer format. Okay, so that's what I've done here. How do I get the date, time, and this one? Okay, what is passed as the three things there is nothing but the current date and time. Normally, the current date and time is already chosen in the date picker dialog. So I'm just setting it using cal. Cal is a calendar instance, okay, which will get you the current date and time in whichever program or whichever system it is running in. Okay, so I'm trying to get the calendar year, month and day of month in my phone. I'm setting it there in the date dialog, and this place from here till here I kept it as null because it is, the entire thing is just one parameter, but it is an interface implementation. So here you see that on date set method is called. In that one I am trying to call that date text box and setting the text by segregating. Please note, this is one big string. I'm just concatenating hyphen in between, and I'm making this particular format. Okay, but it is not a date format. Please note, this is still considered as just string only. It's a combination of numbers and spaces or hyphens. Basically, it's just nothing but a string. Okay, but that's not what I want, because if with a string, I will not be able to set an alarm, or I'll not be able to do any operation which is respect to a date. So I'll be changing this shortly. So before that, I thought we'll first finish the time dialog also, then we'll come back to the formatting part of it. Okay, so for that purpose, I'm going to do the second part today, which is time picker dialog. So I'm going to create an object of time picker dialog, which belongs to Android again. So I'm going to name it as time dialog. Okay, you can keep the name as how you want it. That I leave it up to you, but let it be a meaningful one. Okay, now I've just initialized it, I've not instantiated it. So let me instantiate it after the date dialog. I'm going to say time dialog is equal to new time picker dialog. Okay, before I move on to that, let me also remind you yesterday what we had seen with respect to that. Time picker dialog also takes 5 parameters. Okay, one is context, one is their interface, one is the hour of day, one is the minute, and then whether it is a 24-hour view which I should show to you, yes or no. Okay, so let me just write that. I'm not going to write the interface first because I won't write it in one line, then I'll make it into an interface. So first parameter I need to pass is the context that I have passed. Okay, second parameter which is required is the listener. I'm going to keep it null for minute, okay, because I want to show it in one line first, then I'll make it into a listener. The third parameter is the hour of day. Okay, how will I get the hour of day? Just call the calendar instance and say get. Okay, from there you call calendar, dot hour of day. You get that here. All right, hour of day. That's the one which I read. Okay, that's it. Second one, what do you want is the minute. Okay, so I'm again going to call the calendar instance and say dot get. Okay, and I'm going to say minute, which is calendar dot minute. That's it. Okay, and one more parameter, last parameter is a Boolean one, which just says what view do you want me to show. Do you want to show a 24-hour view or a 12-hour view? Okay, please note that Boolean, if you say yes, okay, if you say true, is it 24-hour view? If you say yes, it will show 24-hour view. Okay, but if I say false, which means I don't want 24-hour view, I want 12-hour view, which means AM PM. Okay, I want that kind of a dialogue. Is it possible? Let's see. Okay, so first thing what I've done is I've just created a dialogue, time dialogue, which takes 5 parameters, starting with context, then the listener, then the hour of day, then the minute, and the 24-hour view, true or false, Boolean. Okay, now this null I'll be replacing, but this null is only required if you want to do something when you click on OK. Okay, but just to test, I don't require that, so I'm going to keep it null. Let me come here and say if you clicked on the second text box, which is nothing but our time text box. Okay, what do you want me to do? Okay, I want you to call time dialog dot show. Show me the time dialog. That's all. Okay, so if you click on the date, I'm showing you date dialog. Now, if I clicked on the time text box, show me the time dialog. That's all we are trying to say here. Okay, now when I run, please note what will happen when you click on the time text box, which is there. I'm supposed to see the time picker dialog. Okay, and by default, what time should be chosen? The time which is there in my current system. Okay, it should be 11:15 a.m. in the emulator. And if you click on OK, nothing will happen because you have said don't listen. Okay, so let's wait for the program to run. I hope you have got the flow, guys. Okay, there is a this is the same thing which you need to do, and you can do it. Some people will tell you to do it using XML also. All right, but I prefer this way because we have full control over how it looks like. Okay, now you see here. You have date picker that we have seen yesterday itself. Okay, the date picker comes with today's date. Okay, chosen already. Okay, let me just cancel it. Let me go to the time picker now. Okay, now you see the time picker shows the current time in my phone. My phone says 11:16. Okay, so 11:16 a.m. It's already chosen. Okay, but if I wanted to choose a particular time, let's say 9:30, I can just choose 9:30, whether a.m. or p.m. This is 12-hour view. Okay, I'm going to choose 9:30 p.m. and then click on OK. When I click on OK, what happens? Nothing. Why? Because what I've highlighted here. You have not told to listen, but you have only told me to show the dialogue. I showed the dialogue to you. Okay, but whatever you have chosen is not coming back to me because you have not told me to listen to that OK. So now let me just go back and add that listening part. So let me remove that null and type new control space. Okay, you will get that one interface only in that entire thing, which is time picker dialog dot on time set listener. Let me just click on enter and you get that particular method. Okay, so now what am I supposed to do here? Okay, right now I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to set the text of the time txt, which is that edit text dot set text. I'm going to just set the text what is passed to me. Please remember in the date picker dialog, what is passed to you is the year, month and day of month, which the user has chosen. Be very clear. What is this? These are the things which the user has chosen in that dialog. What about this then? Okay, the hour and minute which he has chosen. That's all. Okay, now you see, even though I said I want a 12-hour view, what data is passed to me is not 12-hour. Okay, that 12-hour view is for the user to understand, the user to see and interact with. It is not for the system. I told this in the last class. Okay, the system does not care about 12-hour view. It only follows 24-hour view. Okay, and so why did I say a 12-hour view? That's for our understanding. When you choose OK, I'll be passing the 24-hour view equivalent, which means hour and minute. That's all is enough for me. So I'm going to just display what is the hour of day which you have chosen in that, and I'm going to concatenate that with one, let's say one colon. Okay, and then I'll put concatenate that with the minute. Okay, that's all I'm doing right now because I've just set the text, isn't it? Okay, again, this is also a string. It is not, even though it looks like a time to us, but it is not time. It is basically a string. So let me run the program again. I'm repeating this. Okay, even though the user sees a 12-hour view, what comes to my program is a 24-hour view idea. Okay, which means I get the time in 24-hour view format only. Okay, but what I'll be showing to the user will be in 12-hour view. Okay, let me just show you when it runs. Now I have the app running again. Now I'm going to tap on the time text box. Okay, time picker comes. Okay, please note what I'm doing. I'm going to choose this, let's say 12 o'clock. Okay, let me just keep it AM. Okay, fine. Let me just click on OK. What did you get? 12 AM. Okay, please note that is 0:40. That's not what I chose in the dialogue. Okay, please note. Again, I'm seeing the dialogue which is coming here is 12-hour view because AM PM is there, right? So I'm purposely going to cancel. I'm going to just give a different time. Okay, let's say I'm going to choose 10 o'clock. Let's take 10 a.m. Okay, what is 10 a.m. in railway time? It's 10. That's it. Okay, but if I say 10 p.m. and click on OK, I get 22. I hope you follow, right? I chose 10 p.m. but what comes back to my system is 22. 22 hours, 0 minutes, which means 10 o'clock in the night. I hope you follow this, right? So this is a time picker dialog. Now, is that the way I want to show? No, I want to show it in a proper format. So that is where your formatter comes into picture. Okay, so this, I think this much is clear to you guys. Okay, this is the date and you see the problem with the date is if it's a single digit number, okay, it comes like this, 1/5/2021. Okay, and here I told you that even though I chose June 1st, it's showing May 1st. Okay, how do I fix this? Okay, that's what is going to be my format part. Okay, so if you want to simply fix it without doing that leading zeros, all you need to do is do this. I'll just put this inside bracket and put +1, which means if it is January, I'll return 0, you will print 1. If it is December, I'll return 11, you will print 12. Okay, like that also we can do, but that's not an optimal solution for us. Okay, for us an optimal solution would be to take this date and time into a particular format. Okay, because you know that date is also a data type here. Okay, string is a data type, but it is not equivalent to date because if you keep date data type, it is easy to compare, it is easy to add, subtract dates to it. But if you keep it as string, it's very, very difficult. Okay, so now let me choose the same month. Let me choose 1st of June and click on OK. Now it's proper. Okay, but that is not the format I'm looking for. I want 01/06/2021. Okay, I can't write code like if the number is greater than if it is less than 9. Okay, less than 10, then add a 0 in front of it. That is too much of code. Instead of that, we can just simply use a formatter. Okay, which we have discussed yesterday. Let me just quickly show that once again. I want you to remember the difference between these two words. Formatting means converting date to string, and parsing means converting string to date. I want to show you a demo of both because I have date and time. I'm going to show you both. Okay, let me start with the date part of it. Okay, so how do I create a date format? Okay, I'm going to call that date picker, or I'm going to first create a date format using the date which you have sent to me. Okay, I'm going to just keep this commented for a minute. Okay, I'm going to write the code inside the date set dialog. What am I going to do? I'm going to create an object of date. Please note this belongs to java.util. Be very careful, guys. There are two packages which have the same word called date. Okay, choose the one appropriately. Do not choose unnecessary one. For example, if you see, you have different packages right next to it. For example, date comes from two packages, java.util, java.sql. Both are not ditto the same. They have different purposes. Okay, so you should be very careful what you are using. So I'm going to use the one which comes from util, date. Let me just name it as date. Okay, small letter d, that's an object, is equal to new. Okay, I am going to create, I'm not going to create a new date, rather I'm going to use the Gregorian calendar format. Okay, the calendar which we are following is called as Gregorian calendar. So I'm going to just call Gregorian calendar, and in that one I need to pass a few parameters. Okay, it is very simple to understand Gregorian calendar because the calendar instance what we are following picks it from there. So in that one, all I need to do is pass the year, month and day of month. It will create a new date for you and give it back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I already get the year, month and day which you are passing. So I'll just pass that. Okay, so what is the first parameter I'm looking for in Gregorian calendar? Year. So I'll just pass year. Second one, what am I looking for? Month. and the third one is the day of month, which is again passed in the same words which they are using. Okay, that's all. And then say, if you see by default when you create a new object of calendar, it will return a calendar only. So I'm going to say dot whatever gets date for me. I'm going to use the word get time. Okay, what will this line do? This line will create a new date data type, okay, using the data which you have passed when you click on OK in the date picker dialog. Okay, from the date picker dialog, whatever you have chosen, with that I am creating a new date using the help of Gregorian calendar, because Gregorian calendar only has this month as starting with 0 and all those things. So that's why I'm using this particular method. So I have a date with me now. Okay, now I have to format it to display. Okay, please note what I said in the presentation. What is formatting? Converting date to a string. Okay, why am I saying it is a string? Because I'm going to use a simple date formatter. I'm going to format that date so that it looks like 01/06/2021. So how do I do that? I'll call simple date format. Again, it comes from java.text, not android.icu.text. Okay, so I'm going to just create simple date format. Okay, I'm going to just put it as date format, some name, okay, is equal to new simple date format. Now, within that bracket, I'm supposed to give the format in string format. Okay, can you see that? Okay, I'm supposed to give the string pattern. I've also put that in the PPT yesterday of what site it is. Okay, so I'm going to just take you to that site for a second. You can just refer that Oracle docs to get what you want. Okay, I've showed you yesterday the same thing. Okay, I'm going to use the same thing today also. But since I already know it, I'm going to just use that word. Okay, so I'm going to just keep it in such a way that it is within double quotes because it's looking for a string pattern DD. Please note I put two D's because I want 0, a padded 0. DD hyphen MM hyphen YYYY. Okay, this is the format which by the way, this has nothing to do with the date which I've created. This is just the format I'm creating. Simple date format. This format I wanted. Okay, now I can set the text. What I've written here, I'm going to call that here, but without date txt. I'm going to just call it date txt and then say set text to call that date format. Okay, that object which you created just the previous line, and say format. Okay, I'm going to use the word format. Please note, in order to get the format, you see format takes a date, returns a string. This is what I explained in the slide. Okay, so do I have a date object? Yes, I have. So I'm going to just format that date. That's it. So when I set the text now, it will be different. Let's check how it works. I hope you can understand the code while the system is running. Please do look at these 3 lines of code. Okay, this is the one which I committed is the first time I wrote. Okay, there were some issues, isn't it? So I fixed that using these 3 lines of code. How did I do it? Number 1, with the data which is passed to me, I created a new date format. Okay, and using simple date format, I formatted the given date and printed it as a string. Okay, why am I converting it to string? Because please note, you are setting the text on a text box. It cannot take date. You cannot just directly pass that text date. You cannot do that. You have to format it into a string before running it. Okay, so let me just try now whether it works. Okay, I'm going to choose again 1st of June. Let me click on OK. What do I see there? I see 01-06-2021. I did not add month plus 1. Nothing I did. All I did is I got those values, passed it to a Gregorian calendar object. I got the date in a particular format. And I used this simple date format to convert it into the format which I'm looking for. Okay, so if I go to Jan and click on 1st of Jan, click on OK. I get 01/01/2021, not 00. Okay, and if I go back to December, choose one day, I get the day properly. Okay, if there is 2 digit, no problem, but this 1 digit, you will have a 0 padded in front of it. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is the date format. Okay, and I've done formatting here, which means I took the value, I created a date, then converted into a string. That's called as formatting. The next one is parsing. I will do that with the time. Okay, so let me go back. Now, please note, I don't want the time to be in 24 hours. Okay, and okay, I think I'll not show you here. I'll just make it into true and show you how it look if it is 24-hour view. Okay, please note the Boolean value last one for time dialog. I said is 24-hour view. I'm changing the value from false into true. Okay, now I'm running the program once again, and let's see how the time dialog changes. Previously when I showed you, you remember that it was showing AM PM, okay, because I was looking for a 12-hour view. Now I'm going to tap on this, and you see there is no AM PM, nothing. Okay, you see that it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then it goes to 13, 14, 15, 16, like that. It goes till 0 again. Okay, so from 0 to 23, you have 24 hours. I hope you follow this, right? So if I wanted to choose 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll choose 10, 0. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And if it's 10 o'clock in the night, if I want, okay, I'll choose here. I'll say 22, 0. This is how we format it. But see, when there is 00, you don't put 00. Only 10 is returned because it's an integer. Okay, what is coming back is an integer. Integer cannot hold 00. Because it doesn't make sense, isn't it? Like a calculator putting 00 and adding, it will just make it as 0 once again. So I need to format it properly and display, and I don't want 24 hour. I want only 12 hour. Imagine. Okay, 24 hour means you don't have any issues much because it's already coming in 24 hour. So, but I don't want 24 hour view. I want a 12 hour view. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, let me do that. So let me just change it back to false so that I'll see a 12 hour view in the design as well as in the code. I want 12 hour. Okay, I'm going to just comment this out, and I'm going to do, by the way, I told you that I've done formatting here. Okay, so, and I'm going to explain how parsing works here. Okay, so in order to parse, what am I going to do? Okay, in order to parse, number one, I have to, please note the definition of parsing is between string to date. So I'll be creating a string first, then I'll create a date. So first let me create a string with which I'll call it as given time. Okay, the given time, whatever time you have chosen or chosen time, whatever name you want to give, I'm going to just say hour of day concatenated with a colon, okay, and concatenate that with minute. The same thing which I printed out earlier, okay. But anyway, I'm just keeping it as it is. This is a string now. This is what I've got. I want you to convert it into a time format, okay. But I don't want what do you call that single digit. If it is 00, I want 000. Okay, if it is like 10 5, I don't want 10 colon 5, I want 10 colon 05. Okay, so how do I give that? I'll just put simple date format. Okay, I'm going to name it as time format for now, but you can call it as whatever format you want. Let me keep it as time format or date format. Okay, I'm going to create a new simple date format. In this one, I'm going to keep capital H because, by the way, first let me do the 24-hour view and fix that 00 issue. Then we'll go back to 12-hour view. Okay. Now, H colon mm. Okay, minute. Please note, capital MM is not equal to small mm. There is a total difference in that. So be very careful with that. Okay. Now, I've got the format. Okay, please note, I've got string, I've got the format. Here, what did I do? I got the date, then I got the format. Then I used the date format to format my whatever date you have created. Here, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to convert from string to date, isn't it? So I'm going to create another date object. Okay, let me just name it as D something. Okay, is equal to simple or time format dot parse. Please note, not format. I'm going to use the word parse. Okay, parse what? Given time. Okay, now there will be an error. The reason why there is an error is because it is expecting a problem to happen when you are trying to parse it, because system is not very sure that whatever format you have given will be able to parse. Okay, or I cannot give you guarantee that whatever you have given to me will be able to be converted into a parse. What if I give 99 colon 1? Okay, that cannot be parsed into a date forever. Okay, it's not possible because the maximum number you can give as hour of day is 23. Okay, so if I give 24 here or if I give -1 here, this should not work. My format will not work and my program might crash. So system is warning you to put it inside try catch so that your system does not crash. Okay, so I'm going to just choose that, and the parsing part I'm going to just say surrounded with try catch. Okay, if you want, you can put the entire thing inside the try catch so that there's no issue at all later. Okay, now instead of parse exception, let me just put it as exception. Whatever happens, don't crash my app. Just put that in the stack trace. I'll find out what is the problem. Okay. All right. Now, next thing. I've got the date. I'm not still set it into what do you call the text box. Now the problem happens to put it in a text box. I told you how in the previous block I set it into text and I formatted it because format converts date into string. But here I wanted you to explain what is parsing. But remember, parsing is from string to date. Now I'm trying to set it inside a text box. Okay, please note what is the only possible thing I can pass to a set text is a character sequence. Okay, but what you have with you is a date. Is it possible for me to pass a date here? No, it is going to be an error. Why? Because you cannot pass a date to a character sequence. You can see the error if you want. Okay, you can just move the mouse over there. It just says it cannot resolve this method set text to a date format, which means I need you to give me let's say a string. Okay, in that case what should I do? Okay, I have to parse it. Okay, parsing I've already done. I need to format it now because I have a date. I want to print it. I want to put it inside the text box. Okay, at that time I need it to be a string. Okay, so how do I do this? Okay, now I want you to understand that so far what I have done, I have not printed anything. Okay, since I'm very sure the one which is passed to me is in 24-hour view, I have kept it as 24-hour view pattern. Okay, but this is not how I want you to print it. I told you that first we'll print it in 24 if you want. Okay, but you can always take only 12-hour view because it's not confusing for everybody. Okay, everybody can follow 12-hour view. 24-hour views, there are only few people who are very much familiar with it. Okay, so even though I don't care about the view, but the system takes only hour and minute, which is 24-hour view. So I took the format into 24-hour view. Now I have a proper time with me. Okay, but I don't want to display it that way. I want to format it. So I'm going to call date. Okay, I'm going to create a new object of, please note, I don't want to write one more line. I can just write it here. New simple date format. Okay, and inside that you have to give the pattern. What pattern do you want to follow? I want to follow that hour, minute, AM or PM. This is the syntax, guys. I told you where to go and find this pattern also. It's there in the PPT. Okay, you can check that. Okay, and then I say dot format. Okay, format what? The date what you have created. That's all. Okay, I want you guys to read that and understand it properly. Okay, so one is okay, why did I do 2 times simple date format is because I want you to understand what is parsing, what is formatting. Okay, so here what I have done is I've created whatever you have given. When you click on OK of that time picker dialog, whatever you have chosen comes to me in 24-hour format. Okay, I take that 24-hour format and convert it into a decent time format. Okay, and then I parse it. Okay, the string what you have given, I parse it according to this format and keep it with me. Okay, and then when I am trying to set it on a text box, I will not be able to set it because it's a date. I have to format it before printing it. So I'm again formatting using a new simple date format object with this particular pattern and say format the date which you just created. Okay, I'm doing double or 2 steps here just to explain one particular concept. Okay, let me run the program now. Let's check whether it works and how it works. Please remember that 24-hour view I've set true. Okay, but even if you are choosing 24-hour view, I'll be showing you 12-hour view. Why? Because when you are setting the text, I'm changing it into 12-hour view. But while opening the dialog, it is in 24-hour view. I'll just show you one. Okay, let me just choose the time. See, it's showing 24-hour view because I said true. Okay, let me just choose 22:30 and press on OK. What did it print? It print 10:30 p.m. That's the correct time. Okay, now I'm going to change this from true to false so that nobody will come, even the user will not come to know that I've used 24-hour view. Okay, even though I see only 12-hour view, in the background there are only 24-hour views working. So just to explain that, I did this. Now I see the final one which I'm going to show the user. It'll be just a text box. When I tap on it, I'll get a time picker dialog which will be following 12-hour format. You can see this here, right? So I'm going to just choose the current date and time, 11. Okay, it's 11:38. Okay, let me just choose 11:40 and then click on OK. What did I get? 11:40 a.m. That's the correct time. Okay, now I'm going to tap on it and that is AM, right? So I'm going to choose PM, 11:40 p.m. and click on OK. What should happen? Okay, I should just say 11:40 p.m. That's all. Okay, I do not want the 24-hour format to confuse them at all. Okay, it will be always 12-hour view. It's easy for anybody, I mean, for a lay person or anybody who's not good in technical or remembering the time in that fashion will be easy to just map this way. Okay, so always I prefer you to use the 12-hour view because it reaches a lot larger audience. Okay, so that's it. So date and time is done. Okay, so let me just quickly go to the remaining concepts which are required for the next program, and we'll wind up then. Okay, so from here, only two more concepts I want to just give a brief and then we will stop. Okay, system services. Now, tomorrow, or sorry, the next class, when I said we'll be doing that lab record, that lab record program requires two system services to be done, because when you're setting an alarm, you can't set an alarm on your own, because in that case, your system has to sit and wait for that particular time to reach. But your phone, every Android phone already has an alarm app inside it, which means there is already an alarm manager. Okay, I just want to use that manager to set an alarm from my app. That's all. Okay, so how do I do it? That's called a system service. Why is it called a service? Number one, it is running in the background. Okay, you know that all alarms do not keep showing you that I am waiting for your alarm to ring. Okay, but rather it is just a reminder. It is running in the background. Okay, a countdown timer runs. For example, if you have kept an alarm at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, okay, that time till 6 o'clock that then is running in the background. It's not showing to you. Okay, only if you open the alarm app, you are able to see that, okay, the alarm is set for tomorrow 6 a.m. Okay, like that. Okay, that's called a system service. Okay, in the previous program, we created some services like a music player or something like that. That's different. This is a system based service, which means it's already available in your phone. You just need to use it. Okay, so functionalities exposed by application framework API, okay, application programming interfaces, communicates with the system services to access the underlying hardware. Okay, like I think one more best example would be during that services program, what we did, I used the manager of audio manager, if you remember, to find out the volume level in your phone and use that. Okay, that was a hardware requirement. Audio level, it's tied to your hardware, but I got it through code because there was an API which was helping me to get that. How did I get the volume level? I used audio manager and I used the word system service there, if you remember. I'll explain a little bit detail about that later. If you don't remember it, please go back and look at the program where we have done the service demo. Okay, in which we did a music player, in which I said that if the volume level is low, then don't play it. Just put a toe saying that raise your volume up. Okay, like that. So there are two groups of services that application developers may mostly interact with. Number one is a system service like alarm manager, notification manager, and media based services like playing and recording media, etc., etc. Okay, these are the services that provide application interfaces as part of the Android framework. And this is the diagram. Actually, it's not important, but I'm just telling you. Okay, just remember the top part where we are working with application framework. At the bottom, you have Linux kernel. Above the Linux kernel, you have HAL. Okay, just the full form is hardware abstraction layer. Okay, what is the hardware abstraction layer? What is its benefit? Okay, hardware abstraction layer is that it hides the complexity of communicating with a hardware device. For example, you guys turn on Wi-Fi, you turn on Bluetooth and all very simply. Just tap of a button, the Wi-Fi turns on, the Wi-Fi gets off, Bluetooth turns on, your camera turns on, your light turns on, the torch turns on, like that. A lot of hardware things are done very softly and smoothly using your software. Okay, it's not that easy to directly interact with the hardware, isn't it? So, but there is hardware abstraction layer in the middle which helps you to pass data through your server. Okay, your media server or system server or whatever it is, and then communicate with the HAL, which in turn talks to your Linux kernel to actually talk to your hardware. Okay, this is the system services framework, but I'm just going to skip this. You can just refer to it when you're free. Okay, and let me just going to say that the keyword which I'm looking for in this entire thing is get system service. That's the method. Okay, is used when you want to access one of very few Android system level services. Okay, so before that, you need to understand what is a service. It's a long running background process. It does not have an UI. Whatever you create is user created or user defined service, but whatever the system already has is called as system services. That's all. Okay, and why am I talking about it? Because I'm going to use some of these. location manager, notification manager, connectivity manager. Okay, why do I need all these managers? Okay, location manager is used because if you want to access GPS device information, you need location manager. Notification, in order to create a notification, to send or cancel a notification, you need notification manager. In order to check whether you have connected to the internet, whether there's Wi-Fi, whether there's mobile data, whatever it is, if you want to find out whether you are connected or not, you need connectivity manager. Okay, like that, lots are there. I just put a few. Okay, how do I call a manager to your benefit? Okay, this is the code. Similar code I've already written with audio manager. Okay, managers will keep changing, but look at the word which I wanted to highlight is get system service. Okay, so alarm manager, whatever name you want to give, equal to get system service within brackets. Which service would you like? Okay, you will get a list of services here. You just need to choose whichever service you want to access. Here I want to use an alarm service, so I just type alarm service. When I do that, there will be an error saying that the type of service which you get is not alarm manager. So just typecast it. Okay, this is the same way I wrote audio manager. So how do I write audio manager, whatever name you want to give, is equal to get system service within brackets audio underscore service. So this will keep changing, only this part will not be changing. Get system service. Okay, now the next one is pending intent. Okay, I hope this concept is clear to you guys. System services. Okay, I'm going to explain another important concept which is compulsory for you to know for the next program to be done, is called pending intent. Okay, you already know what is an intent. Okay, you go from one activity or one component to another component or to another location, you use intent. What is a pending intent then? Okay, so before I even go to the dialogue, I mean, I put two slides, guys. Okay, the first slide I've taken it from colloquial terms and like some blogs in which they have given it in simple words. The next slide, what you will be seeing is the technical definition given by Android documentation. Okay, but before going to all these things, I wanted to understand that why do I need a pending intent? Okay, there are some times where an intent or when another activity need not be called immediately. It needs to be called only when I need it. Like for example, alarm. Okay, when I'm setting an alarm, I don't want my system to immediately alert me that an alarm is ringing. No. Let's say for example, right now it's around 11:45. I want the alarm to ring at 1 o'clock today. Okay, so when I set the alarm at 1 o'clock and click on OK, if I used an intent, it will immediately show 11:45 only. It will show that alarm is ringing. That's not what I want. I want you to wait till it reaches 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Then I want you to tell. That's not called an intent. That's called a pending intent. To keep it very simple. All right. But let me go to the technical part. It is a token that you give to a foreign application. Okay, it's like a token that you give to a foreign application. In other words, I would use is like for example, if you would like to visit some country, okay, a foreign country, you would have to apply for visa. What is that visa? The visa is nothing but a token that they give you, a foreigner. You are a foreigner to them, isn't it? Okay, so they give you that so that you can access their land. Okay, that's what is a visa. Pending intent is somewhat like that. It's a token that you give to a foreign application like notification manager, alarm manager, home screen, a widget, or any third-party application, which allows you that particular foreign application to use your application's permissions to execute a predefined piece of code. Okay. Now, before I even proceed, just think of this. Who am I going to give permission now? I am saying that my app is not going to wait till 1 o'clock today. My app, as soon as you set the alarm, you can remove my app from memory. No problem. Because as soon as you set the alarm, I'm going to give that information to the alarm manager of my phone. My phone will keep track of how many alarms are running or how many alarms are supposed to come. Okay. And when it reaches that particular time, my phone is going to send a broadcast, okay, saying that your alarm time is up. And my system should be able to, or that particular alarm manager should be able to call an activity from my application. Even though my application is destroyed, it should be able to use that time to show me a notification. Okay. It gives, if you give the foreign application an intent, it will execute your intent with its own permission. Okay, please note that. And it will immediately execute. That's not what I want. Okay, I want a pending intent, which means if you give the foreign application a pending intent, that application will execute your intent using your application's permission because you are requesting that app, isn't it? So that is what is the non-technical definition. It's an intent which will start at some point in the future. Okay, these are all non-technical definitions, guys. Okay, and normal intents normally start immediately. If you just so far whatever intent we have used, the moment you click on it, the intent will start working. Let it be implicit intent, let it be an explicit intent, doesn't matter. It immediately starts. Okay, keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go to the technical definitions of a pending intent. Okay, this is Android documentation. It wraps the functionality of an intent object while allowing your app to specify something that another app should do on your app's behalf in response to a future action. This is the technical definition of pending intent. Okay, I know that it is too much to follow immediately. That's why I divided into small pieces in the previous slide. Okay, now remember that, for example, when an alarm goes off or when you tap on a notification, both are the best examples to understand pending intent. Both will be used in our application. Okay, you might get better idea when we do the program, guys, but just get the idea and keep. Okay, what is a pending intent? That's all. Okay, a key aspect, I'll just go to that, is that another app invokes the intent of your app on your app's behalf. Okay, that other apps use your app's identity when invoking the intent. Okay, this is the technical definition. I'm going to just only focus on the last line. In most of the situations, alarm and notification, this is the identity of the app itself. Okay, I'm going to show both only. These both only I'm going to explain. This is the technical definition or the documentation of Android, guys. I'm going to only focus on these two. I'm going to set an alarm, and at the end of that particular alarm time, when you reach that particular alarm time, I would like to show a notification to you saying that alarm time is up. Okay, that is going to use the identity of my app itself. Okay, that is why I'm going to use the word pending intent. Remember that. And you remember that how you use intent. Intents are used to start an activity, start a service, start a receiver, broadcast receiver. Okay, same thing for a pending intent, but the code will be pending intent dot get activity to retrieve a pending intent to start an activity. Second one, to get broadcast, to retrieve a pending intent to perform a broadcast. Third one, retrieve a pending intent to start a service. Okay, please note the word get activity, get broadcast, get service. Intent normally we use start activity, start broadcast, start service. Okay, remember that. That's why we use the word intent will be immediately saying start. Pending intent to a future action. Okay, remember that. So let me just go to the code part, and the code part in the sense, what are the parameters you need to remember to that get activity method. Okay, most of the time we'll be using get activity only. So I'll just go through the parameters. Number one, as usual, context. Okay, what is the context in which this pending intent will start the activity from? Okay, number one. Number two, I hope by now you're familiar with what is a request code. Okay, we use request code in that start activity for result. Okay, we gave some request codes, and when that request code is been achieved, okay, and that request code is nothing but a number. It's a constant number which is mapping a particular request to a particular code. It's like giving register number to all the students. Okay, that's the request code. It is the private request code for the sender. Using it later with the same method again will get back the same pending intent. Then you can do various actions like cancelling it, etc., etc. Okay, that's the second one, request code. Third one, all right, by the way, please remember it is a pending intent, which means you have to execute an intent later, to keep it very simple. So what is that intent which you would like to launch after this particular code has been executed, or when you want in the future, which intent would you like to get executed? That's the third parameter. Which intent? Please remember the word explicit intent object of the activity that has to be launched in the future. Okay. Fourth parameter you need to pass is flag. There are a lot of flags. I've only mentioned two. One, flag update current. It just says that if a previous pending intent already exists, just update it with the latest intent. If you already have an alarm set at particular time, okay, and I'm sending this once again, okay, remove that old alarm and set the new alarm. That's update current. Okay, then if you use the second flag, there are a lot of flags, guys. I'm only discussing two. Okay, flag cancel current if you put. By the way, I've written the code full caps. You can automatically understand what it is. It's a constant integer field. Okay. Okay. This flag, what does it indicate? Indicates that if the described pending intent already exists, the current one should be cancelled before generating a new one. Okay, which means if you have already set an alarm at 12 o'clock, you can't set the alarm immediately to 1 o'clock. You'll have to cancel that previous existing intent. Then only you can set the new one. That's cancel current. Okay, like that, a lot of other flags are there, but mostly we'll be using update current. Okay, so remember that. I think with this we will stop for today. Tomorrow I will the next class we will be trying to do that program with all these concepts put together. So before coming to the next program, next class, please do go through all the concepts what we have discussed so far, because we'll be putting a mixture of all these things into one program. Okay, so with that I will stop for today.